Hello, City Life Gardening. I just wanted to bring you back into the fold again, just because I was back out here again, and give you a little bit of an onion update. There's a lot of new growth on these. Really excited about that. They're looking like they're enjoying their new home. I think as we start to get more top growth, I might even occasionally come through and just one off of ones that look like they're doing really well. And maybe some of the newer growth on them as well. Harvest some of the greens. And use, say, for like topping a baked potato. With your salt, pepper, butter, cheese, bacon bits if you prefer, green onions, sour cream if you're into sour cream on your baked potatoes. Just a way to bring something in from the garden and eat it before you actually harvest the thing. I was out here initially planning to move these, and this one keeps getting knocked over. I was out here early and uprighted it, but it's just growing sideways because it keeps laying on its side. So it's being heliotropic, following the sun, and or at least, pointing towards the light, and it is just keeps getting knocked over and losing the battle. I also have some more watermelons to plant out, but I already got 8 right there, and basically a field of radishes, 5 rows of corn, a double row of cabbage, and 3 rows of beans. So we're kind of full. Oh yeah, and potatoes. I planted a bunch of potatoes that I had in the cabinet that were growing seed potatoes, and a couple spots that it almost looks like you can tell that I've hoed. From far away anyway, you can almost tell. From here you can kind of tell. If I can point it right, there we go. Yeah, that one and that one are both potato plants. It really helps once you've kind of seen certain plants grow. It's easier to spot your volunteers and try to not wreck them and let them live, because I didn't have to do anything but apparently miss potatoes before and leave them in the ground and then till it again for this year, and at least a couple survived. There was one somewhere over in here, but I was just coming through pulling some weeds just to pull some stuff that I knew wasn't anything that I was growing, and yanked one, and sure enough it had a potato on it. It might be one of these actually, but I swear it was further in and that I put it back in whatever hill it was on. But anyway, so yeah, I got some potatoes started, and some of them even like right here. I believe this is actually potato growth shooting up right here, and that's gonna be the potato plant. But here I've already started what I pivoted to. I don't know if you guys saw the other video. If not, feel free to go back and watch it, where we planted all these beans in the garden by seed, and then came through later. There's another video where I planted some that I had started in pots prior to direct sowing. So they've got a good bit of a head start. And I just filled in the empty spots, and I have this one here as well, and if I can get it to where you can see there's some roots coming out. It's not entirely root bound, but that's definitely a sign to look for in your potted plants when you're wondering if you should up pot them or not. Just go look at the bottom of them. Do you see roots? Up pot it. And especially if they're not poking through yet, just go ahead and up pot it, because once they're fighting and crawling through the holes, they've already wrapped around once or twice looking for places sideways to go, because they're like, oh, we're at the bottom. And so if you see the roots, it's definitely time to transplant. And I've already came through and grabbed that little plastic cup over there and filled it with some Trifecta Plus granular fertilizer and beneficial bacteria and fungus. I've talked about it on the channel before. It's a 5-10-4 blend on the nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus values. Well, actually that's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, because NPK. Yeah, K is potassium. P is phosphorus. Yeah, that's how that goes. But anyway, just to brighten what it's going into a little bit, I'm pretty sure I already have some in the mix in the pots here. Yeah, because pretty much any time I mix any potting mix up, I add Trifecta Plus to it just a little bit. But yeah, just to give it some of that. And I also have some liquid water soluble fertilizer ready to go, blended up with some water in the watering can. And I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this pot on the sides and on the bottom. Try and kind of go ahead and get the roots to separate from the sides and everything. This probably won't be in the shot, but I'm not even going to pause. Oof, there we go. That way you get one continuous shot. And yeah, it's starting to get a little bit wound up. I think I am going to pause it actually and work on unwinding this. Okay, so that was a little more violent than I had hoped. This guy's a little deep. Actually, yeah, let me two-hand this real fast. I'm just going to kind of hold it up in the air a little bit and then feed it some soil underneath and then kind of firm it in as I continue to make sure I have it at the right level and add soil to be at level with it. Bring you right back. Okay, got it at a decent level, I believe. And it seems like when you're doing this and you have multiple plants in the pot and you have to divvy them up or just let them kind of crowd each other out, that you never get an even pull on the root. This one was the smallest one, and we already had our other holes prepared. And these had a lot more root ball come with them. You do want to kind of, once you have it this far along, to hurry up and get it done. That way the roots aren't super exposed to air for a long, long time. And you just want to get them back in a good home and then get them some moisture to let them know, like, hey, we're alive. Let me switch hands. Try to stand it up and then firm it in so it's not laying over like that. Yeah, I definitely need to get in here and weed, or it's going to get ahead of me and not me ahead of it. And you won't be able to tell what's a bean plant and what's grass. Because it's definitely been rainy, and as you can see, the weeds are starting to come in. It did look like pretty much all dirt, and I'd say probably the last video or two. And now it's all weeds, and hard to tell what's a radish and a bean and a weed. I'm sure in the video especially. Oh no, I'm going to two-hand this real fast. I'll pause and be right back. Okay, there's that one. I kind of did a pretty deep scoop there, just because I don't think it's anything with, I have it straight up, but it just, the leaf was right on the soil. I think it was just hanging over the pot that I had it in, and so it's kind of touching the ground, and I wanted to avoid that, just because that is a good way to accidentally give your plant problems, kind of no matter what they are, is let it be, especially with tomatoes. Tomatoes have a really bad problem with that too, is if they're just like, have their lower leaves are close enough to receive soil splash, they'll get diseases. And because tomato blight is soil borne, so when it's there, it has to get on the plant somehow. So the way that happens is the lower leaves get soil splashed on them, usually from rain or rough. Oops, I had it on jet or something when you're watering, and you thought you had it on shower or just something like that. And I will say also, don't think too, just because your tomatoes either struggled or had a problem, that you either thought or did identify as blight, that, oh, the soil I bought must have had tomato blight in it. I mean, yes, no. Did you have it in your yard? Like, it's just, you can't, unless you know for sure, like you had it in an indoor grow or something, that, you can't really know because soil's everywhere. especially outside. But yeah, we've got those 3 beans planted out. I think I'm going to pause so that the runtime doesn't get very long and just ponder a location, because we're almost out of garden room. I did weed over here. I think I might use that little planter and try and... There's goji berry bushes there. They still might green up. It has been chilly for May, I will say. And another thing you can do to tell is I took the stem and grabbed it and kind of bent it, and it doesn't act like it wants to break. It's kind of, flexible still. It did seem like something ate some of it though, or something happened there. Here's our browsers. There was just a broken limb off of it, but I could tell that this is the goji berry branch, or at least one of multiple that was in that one. And anyway, we still may get goji berries coming back. I did look it up. The coldest temperature we got this winter was like -4, so maybe more like -10 up here, because we're a little bit higher elevation than the temperatures are normally reported for the town. Down lower, not the top of the mountain. I could be incorrect about that, but I'm really usually positive that that's usually how it goes with most weather apps and things and news things for our area. So if it says our town's temperature, say 5 colder for us, pretty much. But anyway, and apparently goji berries are cold hardy, which is great. I could have swore they were a tropical bush, but apparently they are cold hardy, pretty low. And so that shouldn't have took them out. So I'm going to keep them in there, but I think I am going to go ahead and plant some squash in there with them. I'm going to go ahead and walk over across the way, grab a bag of soil, walk it back over, and probably just top dress the soil a little with it in that little spot, just to kind of neaten it up a little bit and make it look nice, and to have some on hand over there. And I'm also going to water these in real fast before I forget that I just planted. And I'll be right back with you. I'll add a squash planting on the end of the bean filling in and onion update here. The other 2 already. I wonder if it's nesting in that bird nest. No, I see it. It's just on the house. Maybe it is nesting there and I made it fly away. But just giving this guy a little bit of this water. Water them all in. It just helps the roots settle and get rid of air pockets. This and that. I'm going to go over here and grab the soil and be back with you to plant these squash in that are over here. Here, let's do a fancy camera trick. And just like that, we are ready to go. You're right here at this goji berry bush that is not showing signs of leafing out again yet. But, yeah, I think I'm going to place those about right there. That way I can kind of vertically do them up. I think I'm going to bring out 2 stakes and try to stake them up vertically. It makes squash growing a little bit easier because you can tell where your lowest hanging fruit is and prune any leaves below that to avoid disease and keep good airflow, and also promote new growth and keep it vining. And it also just looks kind of neat and helps keep it from just being kind of a bush that'll flop over and kind of grow out, take up more space. It just kind of lets it have a smaller footprint in your garden. I do believe I have misplaced my hand tool. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. And since we're over here getting the tool, and you can now see them, I do have some cantaloupe to plant out for sure as well. I'm sure it's ready and needing me to plant it out. I'm probably going to pick one of these other planters and do that, but I'm going to have to do that in the morning, I think. It looks kind of bright on the screen right now to me, but I'm sure if I point it up, yeah, that looks gray on the camera, but it's a light blue, but it's getting darker for sure. I will say, for anybody who caught the video that I have yet to upload on this channel, where I talk about my favorite way to up pot anything. This is a slightly different situation here, and kind of with the planting out of the beans. Since you're not starting with an empty pot, you kind of just have to estimate your hole size. You kind of can... don't knock the squash over. You kind of can... Come on, stand up for me. Squash. Keeps wanting to fall over. Kind of can do the same thing with just digging your hole big enough and then putting your pot in the hole that you dig, and then kind of doing the same technique. But I usually just do that to like kind of gauge whether my hole is big enough, and it does kind of make it easier. Since I'm mentioning it, I'll just show you what I mean. I was going to say sometimes I just don't even bother enough because you can just smush it back, but it can kind of help to do this and shore up your edges. Make sure like your soil level is where you want, and like, okay, I want to make it stand up taller than that, so I just did that and angled it up more. And then you can just tell where your soil level is and kind of be like, okay, I don't want it necessarily that deep right here. Push some of that over there into the middle. And then you can just lift your pot out. You have like a perfectly pretty much shaped hole. And I have not fertilized yet right here. I think I'm gonna, for the magic of video editing, go ahead and make another hole like this for the other one, and then I'll be back with the fertilizer to walk you out of this video before it gets too terribly much longer. And we are losing daylight fast. That ought to be plenty. I got plenty left in the cup. And here we go. This one's more of a straight up. Probably going to be easy to do because, and by the way, grand prize squash. It's apparently a newer type of yellow summer squash. It's like a straight neck and does really good. They told me something about it at the nursery that I already forget, but it is a newer variety. I remember them saying that much at least. And okay, so we got it to fall out. Get out of the way, Pop. Alright, so I'm gonna do it on the ground so that I can kind of show you how I go about doing this. I'm gonna have to lift it up actually for this real quick. So I just go around the bottom and kind of just make sure nothing's too wrapped around the bottom itself, like pointing down and curling around it. And then I just have one plant here, so it's not like I'm trying to separate the whole root ball out into three like I did with the beans there. I am still gonna just gently as I can, while still actually doing something to untangle a little bit without doing too much damage. Like here's a long one that was just wrapped up. That is going all the way out to here. So the fact that I was able to unravel that, and that's another long one, is gonna help it to, since like I'm not stuck in this pot anymore, and since I was able to tug it gently like I am on this one currently. This is a really long one. Oh my goodness, you guys. Yeah, that should help this. Like, that's already at the bottom of the hole and the plant's 2 feet in the air. So that was a really long root. I'm going to try to not coil that up too much as I put this root ball in here. Then firm it down around it just to make sure we get good contact. And do the same over here. This one's where this pot kept getting knocked over, like I was saying earlier. Its angle's kind of weird, and so the hole that I made sort of at a weird angle. Like this side of the hole is a lot deeper than this side. I believe these are both grand prize. Yeah, they are both grand prize. But this one's going to be, I feel like, a little more interesting, where it's growing kind of sideways, because when the pot's laying on its side, the sun is no longer up, it's to the side. So that's what's going on here. It was laying on its side like this, and it was growing up like a good squash, but up was not in the right direction. And this one I'm just going to be a little faster about and trying to see if I can't sort of make it stand up while also making the root ball still be kind of vertical. And I sort of have a pile of soil over here, but that's alright. Only got these few things in here, so the fact that it's not perfectly even doesn't really bother me that bad. I just don't want to leave any roots exposed on this underside here. Alright, we're firmed in. I think we're good. And give me one moment, we'll be back to water. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me for another sunset evening in the garden. Planting some things out, making sure they don't get too root bound. Not being too lazy of a gardener. Make these guys happy. Definitely don't forget there's a community side to the channel or whatever, like there is with all YouTube channels. I believe you guys can post there as well as me. I haven't posted there in a while, but if you haven't been there, there's quite a bit to catch up on. Just some things that I haven't really done whole videos on, like for instance the what are those, red buds? I've got some red bud trees growing, and you can make jelly with those. Made a post on those and shared some pictures of that, and just some other little things as I anticipated spring getting busy, and boy, it sure has. It's getting dark, but the garden is full. 2 double rows of cabbage, 3 rows of beans, 2 rows of corn here that wrap around in a U shape, actually. Just because I had so many seed, I was like, why not? Who says it has to be a perfect row? Why couldn't it be a U as long as I space them the same? And 3 rows of a different variety of corn here, bed of garlic here, bed of garlic over there, bed of onions, a bunch of raspberries growing. I added 6 new raspberries. I've got 6, I believe it is, also new blackberries over here. There were blackberries over here long ago, but long story short, there are no more. But now there are again. And the patch of raspberries that's already here, there's apple trees next to me. Potatoes are growing. Volunteer and ones that I planted. It's looking to be a pretty good year for the garden this year. And this whole patch right in front of me is volunteer radish. And here in the next day or two, it'll be time to harvest the scapes. Let me know what you guys are growing in the comments or anywhere that you can let me know that, which is pretty much there. And definitely share pictures of your gardens if you want in the community section. Say hi, what have you, and hope to catch you on the next one. Happy gardening. Have a good night, everybody. It's definitely nighttime and not daytime anymore. That's for sure.